The great revolutionary Lenin once said that we should leave all the over 30s to the Liberals. Now, I know there's some people on the Central Committee that don't like that position. I personally am not too worried about it. Being 27, I've still got a few years to go. But you know, we'll see. And also, people may also know that over the last few years, we've done quite a lot in our leadership to bring in some new young activists to help lead and run the Socialist Workers' Party. And one of those people is Colin Smith. And Colin Smith is, he come on organised Marxism last year and this year, and I think each year he's got better and better, and much of the reasons Marxism has been so successful has got to do with Colin. Now, Colin is moving to France, which is very much France's gain and our loss. And I wanted to personally thank him and wish him well, and I want to make sure that this conference, Marxism Festival, understands the great work that Colin has done. So I'd like to thank him for that. That's definitely enough. We'll go to his head and we're only the last of it. He'll have to be much faster to the rear. I want to start actually by something that happened just before the election. Ed Balls, the Labour Education Secretary at the time, he went to visit a junior school, an infant school in Ilford. And I don't know if you saw it, but they were filming him going around the school, shaking all the kids' hands, all the teachers' hands. And there was this young boy, I think he must have been 4 or 5 years of age, and he was sitting in a cardboard box. And he was going, brum, brum, brum. And Ed Balls goes up to him, really patronisingly, and goes, "Hello there, how are you doing?" And the little boy goes, "I'm all right." And he goes, "Are you driving a car?" And the little boy goes, "No, I'm sitting in a box." And the way the political class treat us right now is with contempt, with complete patronisation. And I think we have to understand that I think people, just like that little boy sitting in his box, knows what's going on. I think now most of us have got to smell the coffee and know what's going on as well. Because the next few, in fact it started last week, but the next few days, anyone who's a public service worker who goes over back to your office the next few days, you're going to get this letter. And I'm going to read out this letter. It says the following. "Dear colleague, first of all, we want to thank you. Whatever your job is, nursing in a hospital, working in a government department, teaching our children, or one of the other key roles of the public sector, you keep our country running. People who work in the public sector don't often get enough credit for what they do. So thank you." Lovely letter so far. But let us be clear. The biggest challenge our country faces is dealing with our huge debts, and that means we have to reduce public spending. We want you to help us find those savings, so we can put public spending in a way that is fair and responsible. You work on the front line of public services. You know where things are working well, but you also know where there is waste, and where we can rethink things so we can get a better service for less money. So this is why we're writing to you today. We're asking you to visit our website or phone 0207 270 4558 and tell us your ideas about a bit more for less. Don't hold back. Be innovative. Be radical. Challenge the way things are done. Every serious idea will be considered. Yours sincerely, the Right Honourable David Cameron and the Right Honourable Nick Clegg. Let's start with one thing to be clear. These swines are neither right and neither are they honourable. But I thought I'd do one thing. This morning when I got given a copy of this letter, I thought, I might ring that number. I've got a few suggestions. And so, I don't think many know this, I used to work in the civil service, so I got my house and I found out my number, and I pretended I was a civil servant. And I made 2 phone calls actually, one to pose it in one way and one to pose it in another and see how they reacted. The first phone call went something like this. She goes, "Hello there, can I help you?" I said, "Yes, I'm a passport office worker and I'd like to make some suggestions about cutting jobs." She goes, "Okay, far away, I've got to record all these, name, department." I said, "The first thing I thought we could all do is sack every cleaner and sack every security member staff." Great idea. How many of them in your office? I said, "About 50, I think." Wonderful. Second idea, I said, we all know, don't we, that there are some members of staff that are really incompetent and lazy. And she goes, right, I'll write this down. And so I thought what we could do, we could have a ballot, and we could vote on the lazy ones and sack them. That's another very good idea, I'll write that down. But I thought, I better not let this go through, because they'll probably put it through and some poor swine lose his job because of my joke. So I said, to be honest with you, I'm lying, I'm not a civil servant, I just want to see what swine you were. I said, how can you sleep at night doing that? I said, there'll probably a colleague next door to you doing the phone in your office up to get rid of you. And she goes, it does make me think, doesn't it? And she got the phone. So I phoned up again 5 minutes later. This other guy picked up the phone, and I said, I've got a suggestion for you. He said, what's that? I said, why don't you bloody well sack all the cabinet? Because if you did that, you save £1.7 million a year. That's what you buy. No, I'm also sorry, I can't record that. That's not a serious proposition and can't be done. So it's all right to phone these people up and sack a cleaner or a security member, but it's not all right to sack the cabinet. So let's be clear, we're not all in it together. We never were all in it together. We never will all be in it together. There's them and there's us, and when it comes to that, we have to stand with the us and not them, and we're not all in it together. No. You see, we have to be honest about this. When Marx wrote about capitalism and other great writers, they talked about the great productive forces of capitalism, the potential for this system to feed, clothe, house all of us. But it doesn't. It doesn't for one very, very, very simple reason. They always put people before profit. And precisely because they always put people before profit, profit before profit. Precisely because, I'll say this one more time because I never live it down, precisely because they put profit before people, this condemned government is declaring war on every single one of us. Declaring war. Let me just clear, they are smashing our jobs. They've announced 600,000 public sector worker jobs to go in 5 years. They're going to slash services, attack the disabled, attack the young, attack students, attack every single one of us. And even when it comes to Afghanistan, even when they know they can't win that war, rather than bend and rather than accept they were wrong and rather than withdraw British and American troops, in order to protect their interests abroad and make them look strong, they are going to stay in Afghanistan, kill more and more Afghanis and kill more and more British people because they'd rather our lives were spent and spilled, our blood spilled, than they're ever to have to back down. They are wrecking our lives, and most important of all, they are bloody well killing us. They are killing us, and I'll tell you why. If you saw Friday's Guardian, there was the most shocking thing. It found that if you're a male living in Blackpool, your life expectancy was 73.5 years. If you're a male living in Kensington and Chelsea, and for those who don't know, that's where the tops live. Not all, there's obviously, I'll come back to this in a second, that's where a lot of the tops live in this country. Your life expectancy is 84.3 years. You're going to live a year, 10, 11 years longer than a working class person from Blackpool. But look at inside Kensington as well. If you're a woman in Kensington, and you're in the A to B sociological category of class, your life expectancy is 89.9 years, nearly 90 years. If you're a woman person in the category C and D, working class people, your life expectancy is 76.8 years. What's that, nearly 13, 14 years difference. They are making the poor die early, and the rich are living longer, and that gap is growing decade after decade. It grew more under Labour last time. It's a disgrace, and it's something we have to understand. If you go and put that abroad, the average life expectancy in India is 50 and 63 if you're rich. In Africa, it's 70 if you're rich and 46 if you're poor. They are killing us in England and across the world. And I'll tell you